Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. So, Mauricio Lara wins the Battle of the Bangers. He stops Leigh Wood with one left hook and a corner retirement in the 7th round. There were only a handful of seconds left in the round. Lara landed an almighty left hook, put Leigh flat on his back. They were both winding up hooks. You don't hook with the hooker. Although probably Leigh would have said, well, I'm the hooker in this fight. I can throw the better hooks. No, mate, you got beaten to the punch. And when he went down, his eyes looked glazed. He got up. He staggered a little bit. Didn't seem to know where he was. And then Ben Davison threw the towel in. Wood was not happy about that. I don't know. I've just finished watching the fight. So was it a justified stoppage? It probably was. I mean, if you're a corner man, you're not the timekeeper, but at the same time, you want to be watching the clock. I'm tempted to say Wood should have been allowed to continue, but there's no doubt about it. All Lara takes is one split second to land one of his bombs, and it's all over. And I suppose Wood could have been hurt. But it was all going so well for the Englishman, because of the 6 completed rounds, I gave him 5 of them. The only bad round he had was the 2nd round, where there was a clash of heads. Actually, the clash of heads may have been in the 1st round, I think, but the blood was still pouring and it was going into his eye in the 2nd round, and it seemed to unnerve him slightly. I don't know whether he panicked, but he seemed to think, I've got to fight with some urgency now, and he started to get a little bit greedy, a little bit too close. And Lara had a really good 2nd round, but then Leigh, once he got back to the corner and once he had a 60-second chat with Ben Davison, he went back to his boxing. Lovely jab from Leigh Wood, controlling Lara. Wood looks like a division bigger than Lara. And Lara just seemed to be, for the first 5 rounds, Lara just couldn't really get close or close enough to Wood. When he did, he was looking dangerous, because every punch he throws is a swinging hook or an overhand, very fast, wide punches. But when Wood kept it at a distance and kept the punches nice and straight, and I know he likes his hooks himself, but when he keeps it nice and straight, he was dominating Lara. And after 5 rounds, I mean, Lara looked a bit, I wouldn't say forlorn, but he was beginning to flag a little bit. There was one punch to the body that Wood landed. He was also jabbing to the body, which was really good, but there was one particular punch, one hook he landed to the body, where Lara seemed to really feel it, and he kind of, shook his head as if to say, no, that didn't hurt, which of course means yes, it did hurt. And you were thinking, I picked Wood to win. I said Wood would win in 4 rounds. I thought there'd be an exchange of firepower early on. No, didn't really happen, but I was thinking after 6 rounds, I was thinking, Wood's got this. If he doesn't get sloppy, if he doesn't fall asleep at the wheel, if he keeps his punches nice and straight, his hands nice and high, but he just got too greedy, and he was in close with Lara, and obviously thinking that he was the hooker. He hooked with the hooker, the real hooker. And Mauricio Lara landed that one punch, and it was all over. But in a boxing match, in terms of skill, in terms of schooling, this was all Leigh Wood. But if you've got that type of power, it gets you out of jail if you can land it. I mean, is Lara the best featherweight in the world? I don't know. I mean, there is a rematch clause. This was a voluntary defence by Wood, which is, again, all credit to him for taking on such a difficult opponent as a voluntary. There's a rematch clause in place. And if they were to fight again, I wouldn't necessarily be picking Lara. I mean, if he doesn't land that power, Lara, and admittedly, 36 minutes of fighting is a long time to stay out of trouble. But if you can avoid the power, Lara can be easily outboxed. It's not a problem. And I felt a bit for Leigh Wood. But let's not forget, look, Mauricio Lara has been to England, is it 3 times now? Twice for Warrington and once for Wood. He came in completely unheralded and ironed out Warrington. He then, in the 2nd fight with Warrington, Warrington did his headbutt routine, and the fight was a technical draw. And Warrington, even though the fight barely lasted more than a round, he didn't look happy, Warrington, in there. He looked a bit gun-shy and a bit intimidated. And now he's come all the way again, Lara, to fight Leigh Wood in Nottingham. I mean, this guy deserves a lot of credit. I picked Wood to win. I've got no problem with holding my hands up and saying it was a gunsling. It was gunfight at the OK Corral, and Lara won it. But all credit to the guy for coming all that way, again, for doing things the hard way, for picking up a couple of early defeats, including a one-round body punch knockout where he got done inside a minute. He's come back, he's travelled, he's learnt from his mistakes, and now he's the WBA featherweight champ of the world. All credit to him. Leigh Wood, at 34, 10 years older than Lara. I think he's got more to give. I don't think his journey's over either, because this Indian summer can continue if he gets Lara in the ring again in that rematch clause, if he exercises the rematch right. I wouldn't pick against him. I mean, I'd like to see him. I'd like to see them both have another fight between the rematch, you know, between now and the rematch. Ideally, I'd like to see Lara fight Warrington for a third time, and I would expect him to knock Warrington out. And Wood to have, say, a tough 10-rounder against maybe a top 15 fighter. And then if he comes through that, they can fight again. But very good fight. Very tense fight, as you would expect with two dynamite-fisted guys. And yeah, you know, watch it. It's on DAZN. It was from the Nottingham Arena. I mean, it just seemed like a fantastic atmosphere. A great fight, really good fight. Really enjoyed it. So what did you think? Were you surprised by the result? Did you think like me that Wood would win, or perhaps you picked Lara and then after 6 rounds you were thinking, blimey, Wood might nick this? I mean, what do you feel about the fight? Leave your comments below. Thanks for your comments, you know, in advance. I always enjoy reading them. And you don't have to agree with me. As long as we're respectful, I ain't got a problem. But like the video if you liked it, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and we'll chat again sometime soon. In the meantime, well done, Mauricio Lara. Bye for now.